In the midst of battle, when swords clash and the stakes are high, a warrior's ability to think several steps ahead can make the difference between life and death. In Musashi, the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi's approach to strategy is more than a mere tool for combat. It is a philosophy of life. The battle tactics he employs in martial arts are deeply intertwined with his personal growth, spiritual journey, and worldview. Musashi's concept of strategy stretches far beyond the confines of the sword. It extends to how he navigates relationships, personal challenges, and even his understanding of existence itself. In a world defined by conflict, both external and internal, Musashi demonstrates that true mastery lies not just in physical skill, but in how one can strategically overcome obstacles in every facet of life. Before diving into this in-depth exploration, we'd like to welcome you to the Unfolding Journey, the channel that unpacks the deeper meanings and life lessons hidden in classic literature, philosophy, and history. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into one of Japan's most famous warriors, Miyamoto Musashi, and examine how his concept of strategy shapes not only his swordsmanship, but his entire approach to life. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with our weekly content, where we dive into fascinating stories, timeless lessons, and much more. Musashi's brilliance as a swordsman is rooted in his unique and revolutionary approach to strategy. He doesn't just view strategy as a series of tactical moves within the framework of combat, but rather as a way of thinking that can be applied to every situation. This holistic view of strategy is evident in his early encounters. Musashi's victory over the skilled swordsman, Sasaki Kojiro, demonstrates his genius in approaching combat not just with physical strength, but with superior strategy and foresight. What makes Musashi's approach stand out is his ability to read situations and opponents. Unlike many warriors who focus on mastering specific techniques or styles, Musashi takes a more adaptable and fluid approach. He is not confined to one style of swordsmanship, but uses whatever method is most effective given the situation. His concept of winning without fighting speaks to the core of his strategic philosophy. To defeat an opponent not necessarily through brute force, but by exploiting their weaknesses and predicting their actions. One of Musashi's core principles is the idea of the way of the sword. For Musashi, swordsmanship isn't just about fighting skill. It's a representation of his entire philosophy of life. A true swordsman is someone who is constantly aware of his surroundings, who can control not only his body, but also his emotions, thoughts, and decisions. In this sense, strategy becomes a tool for self-mastery as much as it is a tool for combat. Musashi's famous concept of the two heavens, one mind strategy exemplifies this broader application. This strategy involves perfecting the ability to strike decisively while maintaining calm awareness, allowing the mind to flow freely and intuitively in the heat of battle. The duality of mind and action, consciously aligning both, is a method Musashi employed not only in sword fighting, but also in navigating the uncertainties of life. Though Musashi's strategies were developed in the heat of battle, they have profound applications in everyday life. His thinking about strategy extends far beyond the sword, guiding how he faced adversity, made decisions, and approached personal challenges. For Musashi, life itself was a battlefield, and the tools of strategic thinking were essential for navigating it. One of the first ways Musashi applied strategy to life was by embracing the principle of adaptability. Throughout his journey, Musashi was often alone, wandering across Japan. He had no formal master, no traditional dojo to follow, yet he found a way to survive and thrive by adapting to every challenge he faced. In much the same way, his strategic approach to combat emphasized the need to adapt to the circumstances rather than relying on rigid structures or methods. A critical life lesson from Musashi's journey is the importance of recognizing one's own weaknesses. In battle, Musashi was keenly aware of the fact that knowing one's enemy is as important as knowing oneself. His self-awareness was reflected in his constant quest for self-improvement. Musashi's ability to constantly refine his techniques, study different styles, and remain humble enough to learn from his defeats illustrates how strategy is deeply intertwined with personal growth. Another powerful life lesson Musashi imparts is the necessity of patience and long-term thinking. In Musashi, he famously says, "It is not the fast who win, but the patient who succeed." Musashi's strategy involved thinking far beyond immediate victories. Whether it was preparing for a duel or making life decisions, he understood that short-term wins are often less valuable than a long-term, strategic vision. By being patient, Musashi could outlast his opponents, ensuring that his ultimate victory would be assured in the end. One of the central themes of Musashi's strategic thinking is the importance of mindfulness. His approach to both combat and life is rooted in a state of mental clarity, where distractions are minimized and focus is sharpened. In battle, this meant being fully present in each moment, able to read the opponent's moves, anticipate their next action, and adjust strategies accordingly. In life, this translates to a clear-eyed view of one's circumstances, emotions, and relationships. Musashi's capacity for focus, especially when faced with intense challenges, reveals a critical lesson for us all. Clarity of mind and deep awareness can provide the insight needed to make the best decisions. Musashi's practice of mindfulness is perhaps most evident in his later years. After years of battle and personal struggle, he retires from sword fighting to reflect, write, and teach. His most famous work, The Book of Five Rings, Go-Rin no Sho, is a reflection on his understanding of strategy, not just as it relates to martial arts, but to life itself. In this text, Musashi outlines the 5 elements of strategy: earth, water, fire, wind, and void. Each element represents a different facet of strategic thinking, ranging from the grounded principles of solid foundations, earth, to the flowing adaptability of water, to the insight and clarity found in the void. The void is especially significant because it represents the absence of distractions and the state of pure, focused awareness. This state of clarity is essential for making strategic decisions, whether in the midst of battle or in the complexity of life. Musashi's concept of the void emphasizes the importance of mental and emotional clarity, a state that allows a person to engage with the world without being clouded by fear, doubt, or desire. An often overlooked aspect of Musashi's strategic thinking is how he applies his principles to human relationships. While many think of Musashi solely as a warrior, his strategic thinking is also evident in how he navigates complex personal interactions. Throughout Musashi, he engages with a range of characters, each with different motivations and desires. Whether interacting with Otsu, his love interest, or his rival Kojiro, Musashi demonstrates that true strategy also involves understanding others. His relationships, especially with his loved ones, reveal his understanding of balance. Musashi's ability to recognize when to act decisively and when to hold back in these interactions shows his strategic finesse. He understands that not every situation requires force or confrontation. Sometimes, the wisest course of action is one of patience, restraint, or even withdrawal. This concept of strategic relationship management is something that can be applied to anyone's personal or professional life. In the world of business, for example, one may not always need to force decisions or actions. Sometimes the best strategy is to step back, listen, and assess. Musashi's strategic insight teaches us that understanding others, anticipating their actions, and responding with clarity and foresight is just as important in relationships as it is in combat. Musashi's approach to strategy offers valuable lessons that can be applied in many areas of life, from personal growth to business, leadership, and beyond. Here are some key takeaways. Adaptability is key. Life is full of unexpected challenges, and the ability to adapt to new situations is essential for success. Musashi's willingness to shift his approach based on the circumstances of each battle or situation teaches us that flexibility is often more important than rigid adherence to tradition or rules. Long-term vision. Musashi's patience and long-term strategic thinking remind us that success is not about quick wins, but about planning for the future and staying focused on long-term goals. Mindfulness and clarity. Whether in battle or daily life, clear thinking and mindfulness are essential for making effective decisions. Musashi's practice of being fully present in each moment allows us to see the importance of focus and awareness. Mastering yourself first. Musashi's journey illustrates the importance of self-awareness and continuous self-improvement. Before mastering the sword, one must first master oneself. Musashi's concept of strategy extends far beyond martial arts. It encompasses his entire approach to life. From his adaptability in battle to his mindfulness in relationships, Musashi's strategic thinking provides timeless lessons on overcoming adversity, mastering oneself, and making decisions with foresight and clarity. His strategy is not merely about defeating opponents, but about navigating the complexities of life with wisdom, patience, and understanding. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Musashi's strategic thinking. If you found these insights valuable, Be sure to subscribe to The Unfolding Journey for more analyses of timeless stories, life lessons, and philosophical wisdom. We release new content regularly, exploring the lives and ideas of great thinkers and legendary figures. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay strategic in all that you do.